All right, welcome back to the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. Todd Morris with you here on the Bulldog Radio Network, and it's time to sit down with UMS-Wright head football coach Sam Williams for our pregame interview. And Coach, tough loss last week in the season opener to St. Paul's, 29-28 in overtime. And I understand everyone hates to lose, but man, there were a ton of positives in that game last week. I think you have to feel pretty good about where your team was when you walked off the field last Friday night.
I did. I was proud of them. I mean, it's really hard to as a competitive guy to sit there after a loss and, say a lot of positive things, but I just didn't have much negative to say. I thought they did everything we asked them to do. I told them, you don't always get what you deserve. Sometimes you feel like you deserve a result. I thought we deserved a better result than we got, but it's part of life. And you pick it back up. You find the things, the reasons that you couldn't finish the game. 'Cause that's all it was. We just didn't finish the game. You find the reason you didn't. You go out and work on them this week, and that's what we did. And feel really confident going into week 2 that we got those corrected.
6 different players with receptions in the game. The offensive line played well. Richard Scott with 139 total yards on offense. Ton of players getting a chance to play on the offensive side of the ball. Talk about your overall feeling of the offense last week.
Yeah, I thought, for the most part, it was kind of I described it as feast or famine to them. You know what I mean? I thought one of the big things you have to do in this offense is don't go 3 and out. Make sure you get started so you can go fast. I thought when we played simple and played within ourselves, it looked really good. I think a little bit of the 3 and out was trying to take those knockout shots, kind of in the third quarter, trying to get it done. We had a couple of those that we just barely missed. And positive plays on first down. We talk about P&10, first play of possession is huge for us, and we work on it all the time. We harp on it. But overall, I thought that you saw a lot of guys who had very little experience in a varsity football game go out and make some plays at different points in time. That'll bode well for us as we continue on the season. They'll get more and more comfortable every game, and they'll be more confident they can go out there and do it.
Quarterback Max Fowler, 23 of 33 for 197 yards, 1 touchdown. I thought Max looked more confident as the game went on. Second half he came out, I thought, and really just controlled the game for us, and I know that's what you're wanting from the quarterback. How do you view Max's performance overall?
I thought it was a great first game. I grade him super hard. I tell him, I'm talking about from just the littlest of things. I expect a lot out of him. But 70% completion percentage. Never put the ball in danger, other than putting it on the ground, which we got that corrected. But I thought it was a great performance for him. I thought he and that's why, after the game, quarterbacks have a tendency to dwell on the things that didn't happen and all the things that they did do. And I thought he really played with himself at times. I thought he really did a great job of managing the game, getting a lot of guys involved, going through his progressions, putting the ball where it was supposed to go. And then we just missed a couple of the big plays. And, that's what he'll hang on to. That's what we harped on all week in the quarterback meeting room. But, it's like I told him, I was like, man, if I didn't believe you'd make them, then we wouldn't call it. You know what I mean? So we'll make those plays as the season goes on. But, you got to be proud of him. You got to be proud of how he competed and how he played. And you're right, he looked super in control and calm in the second half.
Yeah, he did. On the defensive side of the ball, little confusion every now and then with some alignments, especially the trips and a few other things, but things that you kind of expect early in the season because, you're coming out of summer camp. You haven't seen that live game action. I think that takes the defense a little while to adjust, but, man, you can't fault the effort.
No, the effort was there. And, they were disappointed. We were disappointed a couple times on alignments and then just a couple of particular plays where we knew where the ball was going and didn't take it away. But, they did some good things. Again, it kind of felt like the same thing offensively. You'll cling on the plays that we didn't make and not highlight a lot of times the things we did. There was a lot of big plays. We had some opportunities. If we make them, it changes the course of the game. But the guys played hard. They battled. They got us in the right spots. And, offensively, you look at the third quarter, defense was lights out. A great second half adjustments, did some really good things, and we just weren't able to follow up and make that final play for them in the third, fourth quarter.
The other thing on the defensive side of the ball that I look at too, 16 different players with a defensive stat. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. That's a lot of guys getting action and getting involved in the game.
Right, and you've heard me say this, a healthy team is a team that can play a lot of guys, because you're going to have injuries. You're going to have stuff happens throughout the year where you need to take some reps off guys. Maybe they're just a little banged up for a game. So when you got a lot of guys playing, we did that on offense and defense, it really helps. The more guys you can get involved, the better chance you have when it gets a little colder and it gets playoff time, the better chance you've got to go out there and find a way each Friday night.
Doesn't get too cold down here.
Nah, it doesn't too cold. Nah. It got a little cool this morning. I don't know. That may be a precursor of
Felt
things
good.
to come. Yeah,
Won't last long. Trust me on that one. Our first region game this week. Leflore comes into the game tonight, 0-1 on the season, having lost to Robertsdale last week, 31-20. I know you've all watched them. Tell us what you think about the Leflore Rattlers.
Yeah, they're a dangerous team. I mean, I think that's kind of goes without saying. They got a really good running back, really good quarterback, and good skill guys around them. They thrive on big plays. They win the game the other night if they don't have. They had a couple of quarterback center exchange issues that were those big 20, 30-yard killers that just put you really behind the chains. But when they stayed on schedule, they looked good and did some good things offensively. They do a really good job of running the football, do a really good job in their boot game offensively. And then defensively, they've got some guys that can give you problems. 99 at defensive line is a load, and when he goes, he's tough. Number 4 plays safety into the boundary. I think he's a really good player. Number 2 is another one that'll play to our sidelines corner. That's a good player. And then their nickel, number 9, out to the field is a good player. So they've got a lot of athletes. They're defensively, I think they do a good job of staying simple and staying sound, which will help them against us a little bit going fast because they don't try to do too much. But we just got to stay on schedule, operate, and it's funny because this is kind of a cut and dry game. I mean, I think they're going to line up and play. We're going to line up and play, and whoever takes care of the ball and plays cleaner will probably be happy at the end of the night.
I know we had a few banged up players last week. Talk a little bit about injuries this week. Anybody going to miss the game this week?
Yeah, we'll have a couple of guys out that we'll have to just kind of monitor. I think Brady Lathan and Kaplan Reed will probably be out for this week, and we'll kind of be week to week on them. Just kind of get them healthy and get them back. It's kind of one of those things with seniors. I know they want to be available every game, but sometimes you got to protect them too. It's one of those things. First, I guess that was Monday practice. I looked at everybody and I said, man, sometimes when you look around, you see guys that have played a lot of football. It kind of freak you out that they're not going to play or that they may not be available. But you got to believe in the next guy that you can step up and go in. You got to believe in your coaches that if there's something we need to change schematically, we'll get that done. So just keep believing in what we're doing. Stay up, stay positive. And it was a great week of practice. I thought they really responded well to a situation that you could have had kind of an emotional hangover from.
Sure, but now you look ahead. I'm not a person that likes to look ahead, but 3 straight region games coming up, all of them big. When you start thinking about playoffs and all of that, you got your first out of the region game. Is your thought process any different as we approach these region games?
Yeah, you have to do what you got to do every night to win. Whereas sometimes in a non-district game, you can get to next week, whether it's an injury or whether it's getting. These you can't just say, hey man, this one's not going right. You got to throw the kitchen sink at them, and you got to plan for a plan. So you got to be 1-0 every week now. We'll obviously have T.R. Miller in a couple weeks, be non-district, and then finish with St. Michael's, where you can worry about some other things. But it's time to go now. You got one tune-up, and here we go. So your mentality is just it's a 1-0. I've always had teams perform well in district, and I think it's just because of our approach. Don't look ahead, don't look behind, take it one game at a time, but do whatever it takes. This is the most important game right now.
All right, Coach, that all sounds good, and thanks for joining us on the pregame show. Good luck in our first region game tonight. Let's go get our first win of the season.
We're going to get it done. Thank you, Ty.
All right. First 5A Region 1 game of the season for the Bulldogs tonight. We're on the road. UMS-Wright versus Leflore coming up in just a minute. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more of the UJ Chevrolet pregame show right here on the Bulldog Radio Network. Sports Talk 99.5 Mobile, an iHeart radio station.